Got a couple more people that I'm gonna let in. And just to introduce myself, my name is Courtney Close. Um, I founded Hummingbird Church about probably 4.5 years ago. But we've been doing ayahuasca retreats for 6.5 years. And then about 4.5 years ago, decided to offer them to the public. It was all like very underground. You had to know somebody, and um, we were doing them in Airbnbs and not being really forthright with what we were doing. And it was not not very well organized, and it wasn't really getting to the people that needed the medicine. So we ended up making the decision to form a church, to offer ayahuasca to the public, and to work with indigenous medicine carriers directly from the Amazon. So the folks that we're bringing to conduct these ceremonies are well vetted. They're folks that we've sat with. They're from different lineages. We'll talk about their different lineages and who we're currently working with. So that as you see all the retreats posted, if you're thinking of attending, then you can, look up the providers online, you can look up the lineages or ask people about them because their ceremonies vary greatly from lineage to lineage. Um, so yeah, so let me go ahead and figure out how to share my screen real quick. Um, awesome. So today in today's open house, we're going to go over um who we are, what we believe, what ayahuasca is, who ayahuasca is not safe for, how to prepare integration, an overview of our retreats, our indigenous medicine carriers, our code of conduct, the locations and accommodations that we offer, how to attend a retreat, and then answer any questions. And again, if you haven't put your email in the chat feature, go ahead and direct message it to the host, and we will do a drawing after the presentation, and we'll email the winners. Who we are a multi-faith spiritual community of individuals who take ayahuasca as a religious sacrament. We're based in Southern California and have been conducting Indigenous-led ceremonies since 2019. We come from all walks of life and have varying backgrounds, professions, and beliefs. Our team is made up of paid staff members and volunteers. We run as a nonprofit religious organization. We are not a wellness center or a medical facility. We are a spiritual community. We have all experienced the spiritual healing of ayahuasca, and most of the team has been working with ayahuasca for multiple years. We respect all faiths and spiritual paths that do not harm or exploit others. Than what we believe. We believe that ayahuasca is a sentient being with a consciousness of the earth. Ayahuasca is a tool that can help us heal ourselves and forgive ourselves and others. Ayahuasca can help us become happier and healthier versions of ourselves. Ayahuasca is helping America heal from hundreds of years of genocide, slavery, colonization, war, greed, and violence. Each person has their own truth and path to follow, and we encourage each person to discover their own truth. Every person deserves healing and forgiveness no matter what they have done. We do not follow any single religious texts. We respect all spiritual teachings that do not preach hate and do not harm others. And we look to the Ayahuasca Manifesto and the teachings of our indigenous leaders for guidance. We do not believe that ayahuasca is a solution. It is only a tool. What ayahuasca is an herbal combination of two plants. That's the Bannister coffee, which has the MAOIs in it, which present the complication for a lot of medications, and the chacruna, which contains the DMT. The ayahuasca that we work with, it only has the leaf, the vine, and the water. And it's made by the indigenous people that are serving it. So the ayahuasca that you get will be a little bit different, based on the lineage that's serving it, but it's not going to have anything funky in it. It's just going to have the water, the leaf, and the vine. Um, it's generally safe to consume, if you're doing it under the guidance of an experienced ayahuasquero and you've cleared intake and been honest with the information on the intake, and you're not on any medications or supplements that have contraindications with ayahuasca. So the main thing is making sure that your medication and supplements do not contain MAOIs because you don't want to have too many MAOIs in your system and potentially experience something called serotonin dumping syndrome, or that there's contraindications with MAOIs and your medications. So that's why there's really the stress on the screening process and making sure that you're not on medications that can potentially be a problem. Who ayahuasca is not safe for. Ayahuasca, anyone who cannot safely stop using medications or supplements that have negative interactions with MAOIs, these must be fully out of your system before ingesting ayahuasca. Anyone who's currently undergoing ketamine or MDMA assisted therapy during the time that the retreat's scheduled, you need to have not used either for 15 days before the retreat and at least 15 days after. If you're planning on taking any psychedelics within 15 days of the start or 15 days after the retreat, then you're wasting your time and money. You you want to come into this sober and go out of this sober, which really should be at least a 30-day process. Um, if you're going to be doing 5-MeO DMT, Bufo, or Ibogaine, you need to have at least 30 days. Those are really, really deep medicines, and you need to integrate those before going and jumping into ayahuasca or jumping from ayahuasca to those. Um, Anyone with the following mental health diagnoses: multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, personality disorders, bipolar, or those who have a history of seizures, active bulimia, experience a stroke or embolism, severe asthma, which has resulted in hospitalization, known cardiac illness, uncontrolled high blood pressure, active Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, intestinal ulcers, had bariatric surgery in the last 3 months, or anyone that's in their first or third trimester of pregnancy. The common possible side effects of ayahuasca, the obvious ones are nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea during and after ceremony. Ayahuasca is a very purgative medicine. Bloating, indigestion, abdominal pain during and after ceremony, headaches, feeling dizzy or lightheaded, dehydration, feeling like your body temperature is fluctuating, or you're experiencing extreme hot and cold, feeling like your heart's racing, your blood pressure going up, negative drug interactions of medications or supplements that have adverse side effects with MAOIs have not been stopped or out of your system, audio and visual hallucinations, feeling like you're in a dreamlike state during and after ceremony, and then questioning your belief system and life path, are very common things that happen after ceremonies. Who should not attend the retreats? Anyone not medically safe to attend the retreats who has had a physical illness or mental health conditions deemed unsafe to combine with ayahuasca. Anyone unable to stop medications, supplements, drugs, um, alcohol, with negative interactions, takeaway-wise, or if you're taking things that numb the effects of ayahuasca, like benzos or street drugs, you want to make sure you're off of those things that numb ayahuasca as well, so that you're able to really go in and have the best experience. Anyone looking for a luxury retreat, we don't offer luxury retreats. We do have some locations that have some bedroom upgrades, and private rooms offered. So our retreats go from camping to the accommodations that you would commonly find in a house. Anyone that's looking for just a psychedelic experience, this is not that. This is a healing retreat, and this is with actual indigenous medicine carriers, not someone that just went to the jungle and trained. We're bringing the jungle to you. So if you're coming for a psychedelic experience, you're going to end up having a healing one, and that may not be pleasant. Anyone that's looking for a magic solution to their problems, again, ayahuasca can be a great catalyst for you to make some changes in your life and can show you the blueprints to a better life. But ultimately, you're the one that has to do the work. And any healing that you experience, that's due to the hard work that you do in the ceremony. Anyone who's actively serving ayahuasca, um, if you're coming to serve for your own healing, then absolutely, like we definitely have a map for you. Um, but we've just had some really negative experiences where people who are serving ayahuasca and don't really know what they're doing come to the retreats as kind of like a networking thing, and then people don't know better. And end up in situations drinking with people that aren't experienced and aren't safe to serve. Anyone who has claustrophobia or does not like being in large groups, if at any time you're uncomfortable or where we've put your mat or you need a little more space, we can absolutely accommodate that. But again, this is a large group setting because we are bringing people up directly from the jungle. So we really need to take advantage of the time that they have here. And that's why we're at this time only offering the larger groups, which are about 30 people for each retreat, unless otherwise specified on the detailed page of the website. Anyone that's looking for one-on-one attention during the duration of the ceremony, so we have lots of team there. If you need one-on-one attention because you're having a really hard experience, there's going to be somebody that can sit with you. But again, it's not just like a one-to-one ratio. We typically will have about 10 team members helping for 30 participants. So it's pretty good ratio and you should have the help and support that you need. But if you want a one-on-one experience, we're not the group to do that with. Anyone that's looking for us or someone to heal them, you heal you. We keep you safe. We create the environment for that to happen. But you're the one that's doing the hard work. Anyone who believes they've already reached spiritual enlightenment, if you've already reached enlightenment, then you certainly do not need to go through this process. Anyone who is concerned about COVID exposure, you're in an environment where we're sharing toilets, people are vomiting in a room together, we're eating buffet style. So it's, there is a risk factor there. Um, Anyone who already has established beliefs on how an ayahuasca ceremony should be conducted, if you're sitting with a group or a lineage that you really like already and you feel really passionate about that's the way things need to be, you may not like our ceremonies. They may be different for you. Um, if you're looking to just try different things and have an open mind, then absolutely. But if you have already like a pretty dogmatic belief about how the ceremony should be conducted based on the teaching of a lineage, then this might not be, the best environment for you. Who should attend a retreat? Th- Anyone who's been deemed medically safe to attend the ceremony, those looking to experience ayahuasca with legitimate indigenous medicine carriers, that are actually from the Amazon, those that would like to attend with medically trained staff or doctor or nurse on site. We will always have a medical professional there. Um, those not looking to attend an underground ceremony, and this is something we would definitely highly advise you against doing. Like, even if you're not sitting with us, please sit with a group that's public because if there's something that you don't like about the ceremony or something that's not safe, and they're public, then you can tell people about it. You can share your feedback. If you're sitting with some underground group, you can't really validate that they're legitimate, and you really don't have anyone to tell if things go sideways. So try to sit with, groups that are out in the public. Those seeking to become happier and healthier versions of themselves, those with an open mind to healing through spiritual practices, those willing to do the hard work that our retreats require, and those who are fully committed to attending the retreat. Those who do not have set expectations as to what they're going to receive from ayahuasca, those comfortable in group settings are okay with being uncomfortable in one. Those who've not had success with traditional healing practices, and those looking to get to know themselves on a deeper level. And people that are feeling uninspired, lacking purpose, or lost in life. These are things that ayahuasca can really help you out with. So how to prepare for the retreat? We give you the bare minimum instructions to follow just to keep yourself safe. You can do more, but don't do less than what we recommend. There are different groups will have different advice for you on how to prepare, and that's totally fine. We are just, again, we're telling you what is the bare minimum, um, because we know we're doing these in America, and we just want to make sure that you follow the minimum. So the most important preparation is for you to come to the retreat and be in the best physical condition that you can be in. If you have medications that have contraindications with MAOIs, you must have them out of your system. You need to be off all prescribed prescriptions, alcohol, and marijuana that can numb the effects of ayahuasca. If your medication and supplements do not have contraindications and do not numb the effects of ayahuasca, then you are fine to continue them. We recommend that you come as well rested and well hydrated as possible. You're not going to be getting a lot of sleep or relaxation at the retreats. The ceremonies can often go until the sun comes up. So just, come as well prepared as you can. Um, but ultimately, come as you are, as long as that is safe. So 7 days before the retreat, you're gonna drink 2 liters of water a day, and you're gonna stop eating red meat and pork. This is not a woo-woo belief that we have. Again, we're telling you what is the safest for you, and so that you can prepare and have the best results. 7 days before retreat, sobriety, that includes marijuana, alcohol, and substances that can numb the effect of ayahuasca. No energy drinks, but coffee and tea are fine. We highly recommend that you stop having casual sex and consuming pornography. If you're in a healthy and loving relationship, then we have nothing to say about that. If you continue to engage in sexual intercourse, that's up to you. Um, but you don't want to be, engaging in the casual stuff or the things that can be harmful for you. 3 days before the retreat, continue everything listed above, and then ensure that all supplements and medications with contraindications to MOIs are totally out of your system. Research the half-life of these substances to ensure that they're totally out at least 3 days to the retreat. They should be out well before that, but this is where you get into a situation where you're going to possibly get yourself in some medical trouble if they're not out. Go vegetarian or vegan if possible. No chicken or fish 3 days before. Eating plant-based foods for 3 days before can help prepare your digestive system. If you cannot, then just follow the diet mentioned above for the 7 days. Um, Absolutely avoid super spicy food and foods with excessive amounts of garlic. It's no fun vomiting these up or having heartburn in ceremony. The day of the retreat, you follow all the above instructions and just stop eating at 3 p.m. Juice and fruit are fine until 5 p.m. So integration is really, really, really important. It's the process of taking the experiences you had in ceremony and turning those into real life positive changes. Integration must occur after the retreat. We will have share circles, and people may refer to it as integration, but that's just an opportunity to share and ask questions. But really, the process happens once you leave. Each retreat will have their own Zoom integration meeting with Michael Vascones. This will take place 2 or 3 days after the retreat. And then we ask that you commit to attending that. Michael will give you some tips and tools to really help you get the best outcome for the retreat, from the retreat. And the call will be recorded. So at minimum, you can listen to it if you're unable to attend the call, but we highly recommend attending live and to allow yourself 2 hours in a quiet place to be present during that call. We also have weekly standing community check-ins that take place at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, and that's open to anybody. If you need one-on-one additional integration support, we have resources that we can recommend. It's outside of the church, and most of them there is an additional fee for. There are also other groups that we can recommend that usually have like 1 or 2 sessions for free. Um, we also recommend that you stop microdosing psychedelics for at least a week before the retreat and at least 2 weeks after. There's a lot of advice out there where people will tell you, oh, you should integrate your ayahuasca experience by microdosing mushrooms or taking ayahuasca home and microdosing that, or or smoking marijuana or something. It's no, that's horrible advice. At least for the way that we work with the medicine, no. What you need to integrate is absolute sobriety. Which is the hardest drug of all is raw dog in reality. And that's really what you need to do after this experience because you're going to possibly be reevaluating some of your life situations and belief systems. And it's best to do that as clear-headed as you possibly can. Um, yeah, and do not attempt to prepare for ayahuasca by going to like a mushroom ceremony or taking San Pedro or you're smoking bufo or doing any psychedelics. Again, prepare with sobriety, taking care of yourself, and coming in the best, physical shape that you can come to retreat in. Um, so you will, after ceremony, you're going right back into your lives. We're not in the jungle unless you're going on the Brazil trip. Then you get a little integration time in the jungle. But for the US based retreats, you're going right back into your life. Any time that you can take off after the retreats, you won't regret. You don't absolutely need it. It's not like you're gonna still be feeling ayahuasca when you're trying to do your job, but your heart's gonna be very open for the 2 weeks following ayahuasca. And so if you have a job that's super toxic or you're in a relationship or you have family members or friends that just bring you down, maybe try to avoid those things for as long as you can or limit your contact with them and just really show yourself a lot of love during the first 14 days. So getting well rested, eating foods that are good for you, spending time in nature, spending times with animals. Animals are the ones that will totally get what you've been through and not judge you for it. So definitely recommend that. And Mother Nature is the greatest integrator, and our animal companions provide us with the much needed unconditional judgment-free love that really helps through this experience. So just really be kind to yourself and patient with yourself and be aware that you're open. So you're going to feel a bit more sensitive, which sometimes can feel like you're backtracking or you're or weakness, and it's not. It's just you're getting this new awareness after the retreat. Oh, whoopsie, what did I do there? Okay. So our indigenous medicine carriers, I I will also send you guys out a copy of this presentation so you can read through it. But I'll just tell you a bit about them. So we have Taita Claudino Perez Torres. He's from the Murray or Witoto tribe in Colombia. If you want to learn more about his lineage, there's a documentary on Netflix that came out in November of last year called The Lost Children. It's about how his tribe used ayahuasca to locate children that were lost in the Amazon from a plane crash. They had been in the Amazon for 40 days. It's really interesting. It's all footage shot by the Colombian military. Um, and it's just will help you kind of understand the really unique relationship that his lineage has with ayahuasca. Claudino is a very renowned medicine carrier and indigenous leader. He is from Colombia. He's from Putumayo, Colombia. He is a he bears the title of abuelo or taita, which is due to his extensive knowledge of ceremonies, rituals, plant medicines, and he is about 65 years old. Um, Very, very skilled, very, very well respected. The ceremonies, when you see them done by a Taita, they're very similar in their conduct, but different for each one in each lineage. Um, where the first part of the ceremony is more quiet, they're praying, they do energetic cleansings on people called limpias. And then the second part of the ceremony has music. So any of the Colombian medicines too are a bit more physically purgative, where you may vomit more. Um, and just really, really beautiful, beautiful deep ceremonies with the taitas from Colombia. Another taita that we work with, and a female indigenous leader is Manacita Maria and Luis Alberto Queta. Maria, she's actually now 78-year-old. She is the sister of Taita Mayorke Rubin, who died last year at 110 years old. She does the ceremonies with her son, Luis, who we call Tio Lucho. They are also from Colombia. They are from the Kofani tribe. Um, and they have a lineage that goes back over 5,000 years and is unbroken. Um, they work together in ceremonies. Again, same, very similar style as Claudino and the Watoto ceremonies, where prayers and quiet during the first part, and then our musicians come in at the second part and they perform the limpias. They both work with the tobacco medicine of rapé, where it's that tobacco snuff that's blown up your nose. You don't have to participate in any of those, but it is something that the Colombians do. Maestro Don Gaspar Rengifo, he is Shipibo. This is a lineage that people are most familiar with. They're from Peru. And they have the really cool patterns. They sing Icaros, which lead the medicine to heal you. They go from each person's mat and sing them a prayer. Um, and he works with, we do our retreats with Don Gaspar in partnership with Ayahuasca Church out of Texas. So they come with him and assist. Gaspar is amazing. He's another renowned healer. He's lived through so many crazy situations in life. He's also in his early 60s, so he's been doing this for years and years and years, is very well respected. He's dieted 233 different plants, and he's done ceremonies all over the world. He has over 30 years experience conducting his own ceremonies. He's a master teacher, and very, very well respected around the world. Hona and well, Tima or Renee Yawanawa are from Brazil. They're amazing. They're younger medicine carriers and younger indigenous leaders. And they do their ceremonies with a group. Hona brings his wife, and then they have two people that assist him in ceremony, Greg and Kimmy. Greg is from Scotland and Kimmy's from the United States, and they actually live in the jungle with them. They do very, very beautiful ceremonies. If you're looking for a ceremony where you're really feeling you want to feel connected to people and the planet, and you want something with a lot of music and more upbeat energy, the Yamanawa is just absolutely a beautiful group to experience ceremony with. Completely different than the Colombian and Peruvian ceremonies of the Shipibo, Kofani, and Watotos. This is just love, connection, joy, happiness, but also a very, very deep process. And they come to the United States either once or twice a year. And just absolutely amazing. They're the ones that were doing the trip in August to Brazil to their village in a very, very remote part of the Brazilian Amazon of Acre. The other Brazilian group that we work with is Prince Haru and Hira Kuntanawa. Um, Haru is the leader of the Kuntanawa Nation, and Hira is his wife, who's an amazing healer. She's a doctor. They live in Brazil. She's from the United States, but she's been living in Brazil and she's married to Haru. Um, Very big activists on protecting the physical environment of the Amazon, tree planting projects, raising money for the Kuntanawa people and indigenous people of Brazil. Haru's super active politically. They're both amazing musicians and healers, and their ceremonies are they feel very controlled. They work with the medicine in a way that I've not seen anyone else work with, where they're mixing that indigenous tradition with Western teachings and like Kundalini energy. Their ceremonies, you feel a lot of love. You feel very held and safe during it. And it's very organized, and supported. So just again, they're all different, but they're all equally beautiful with the different lineages. But if you're looking for something that kind of blends the indigenous with the Western culture. This is a great one, and these guys do beautiful, beautiful work. So our retreat overview, typical group size 30 participants, 15 to 20 staff. Group size vary based on location and staffing. Ceremonies take place indoors in a large event tent and a geodesic dome. Again, the retreats are not luxury. Only live music's played. We'll never like bust out a, playlist or anything like that. Sound is a big part of the ceremony, which is why we only do the live music. Our retreats are a mix of paying participants, um, scholarships, and partial pays. Food, activities, ceremony bedding, post-ceremony group integration support are all included in the price. Activities for each retreat vary. Examples of activities are breath work, sound bath, art therapy, herbal baths, drumming, song circles, yoga, and meditation. Um, each each meal has vegan and gluten-free options. Sometimes we'll offer fish or chicken based on the lineage that we're working with. Um, and if they're okay with that being offered as like the last meal. The only additional cost for retreats are for doing Cambo, which we would partner with other providers to do it, and that's $150 extra, and that's something you sign up for at retreat. And you just pay directly to that team. Or if we have somebody there doing massage or energy work, then that's something you sign up for at retreat and just pay them directly. And then also our team and the indigenous people that we work with, they make a lot of their own goods and they sell them at the retreat. But other than that, there's no like hidden costs for anything. Our code of conduct for the staff is we will not touch you during the ayahuasca ceremony unless needed to physically assist you, like get you up, walk you to the bathroom. We're not going to put our hands on you or do anything invasive in ceremony. Men assist men and women assist women. If a man's needed to assist a female participant, a female staff member will always be present with you. We will not tell you what to think or what the truth is, as we each have our own truth. We will not take credit for your healing. You heal you. Staff does not date participants. If there is some potential romantic connection made, we ask that you guys wait at least 90 days before hanging out with each other. And just remember, if it's true right now, it's going to be true 90 days from now. But it's just really like comfort healing. Um, Meeting someone at an ayahuasca retreat's not, it's like meeting someone at rehab, romantically. Like you're there for healing, focus on that. And just, yeah, just know that we really like the love that we're showing you is platonic during that weekend. Our code of conduct for participants is no touching or conversational talking during the ayahuasca ceremonies. Again, um, we don't want to interrupt your process or impress upon you, while you're in a very vulnerable state. During the retreat, please not hit on any of the staff members or participants. Remain coachable. Anything we advise you to do is for the well-being and safety of yourself and others. We may ask you to go outside of the ceremony room during ceremony, or may ask that you change positions on your mat. Be respectful of the other participants in ceremony. Be mindful that you're in a large group. No drug or alcohol use during the weekends. No bringing animals or non-participants. If it's a situation where you have a service animal or you have a caregiver, then please work that out with us ahead of time. Keep all participant shares confidential. Please not go on social media and share or create content about other stories without their permission. You must surrender your phone and car keys during ceremony, and you'll receive them back at breakfast after each ceremony. So our locations that we are currently using, I don't have Tennessee on here. We have Tennessee and Iowa on here, which will be our first time in both of those. But in Southern California, we do them in Lucerne Valley. That's camping. Ceremonies take place in a heated event tent. You're using portable toilets. There are heated showers, and there's places to plug in your electronic devices. But during ceremony, so that you're not walking, it's good old porta potties. It is a desert climate. There is cell phone reception and there is Wi-Fi there. Nevada City, Northern California, all the accommodations you would expect in a home. We stay indoors in the common area. Ceremonies take place indoors. Flushing toilets, heated shower, cell phone reception, and Wi-Fi. St. George, it's the same. accommodations as Nevada, except for there are room upgrades and common areas that are separate for men and women. For Tennessee, it's the same. Um, as St. George, there are room upgrades, private room options there. Note that all the room upgrades that we offer sell out very quickly, so it's best to book those. Like if you're looking for a private room, or shared room, or coming in a group, that you reach out in advance, like, or when those first get posted, to ensure that you get them. Iowa is the same thing. There's private room options. I think that's the only one that we currently have up right now that has private room options still available. And when you go to the intake form, it'll show you what options are available for that location. If it's not on there, it's not available. However, it doesn't hurt to ask. You can email us after you complete an intake form and ask if there's anything that's been freed up. Medford, Oregon, very similar to the accommodations in Lucerne. It's a camping retreat. Ceremonies will take place in a large geodesic dome that is heated. You're using portable toilets. There are heated showers. You're in the mountains. There is no cell phone reception there, and there's limited satellite internet. So how to attend a retreat, you go to our website and you complete the intake form. It'll say begin your journey, and that's where you fill out all of your information first and select a retreat that you want to attend. Before, like, you don't pay first. Like, we make sure that you're good to attend before we exchange any money. If you're accepted, you'll receive an acceptance email within 2 days of completing your intake form. And you'll be emailed a non-refundable deposit invoice, and you should get that about 5 minutes after you get your acceptance email. If you don't receive the deposit invoice, check your spam folder because it comes from QuickBooks and sometimes it gets blocked. Um, and if it's not in there, just email us and we'll get you the link. You have 7 days from that point to think about, is this something you really want to do? Because the deposits are non-refundable and non-transferable. So once you make that deposit, you're locked in, and that's that. So we give you that period of time to really think about, is this something that I want to do? And do I want to do this with a group? Um, and then we have a live meeting. It's a pre-retreat Zoom call that you can either attend live or you can watch, and that takes place before final payments due, so a little bit before 2 weeks before the retreat. So that way, if you're still contemplating it or you're not 100% sure, you run the risk of only losing your deposit. You can attend that call, and then you can make your final decision, if you're going to attend or not. And then you pay the balance in full 2 weeks prior to the retreat date. So that's everything I have to go through. Let me stop sharing. And awesome. So I will let me go through these real quick and answer the questions, and then I'll open it up to anybody that wants to directly ask a question. So first one was ADD meds. So it depends on the medication. You want to check the half-life of your medication for how long it takes to get out of your system. The main thing is making sure that it's out of your system before you come to retreat. You absolutely do not want to have like Adderall in your system. Um, when when ingesting ayahuasca, I've seen people go through it with the Adderall, and it's been really unpleasant and violent at times, and can also pose a risk to your blood pressure. So really make sure that your medication, whatever medication you're on, because they have different um half-lives, just make sure it's out of your system, at least completely out of your system, at least 3 days prior to the retreat. If you can get it out 7 days or 14 days before, even better. The longer, the better. Are there long-term side effects? There typically are not long-term side effects of ayahuasca. But again, it's one of those things where you're going into a spiritual ceremony and you may get a whole new perspective on life. Which I guess that could be a long-term side effect, is that you now have this awareness about your life or something you're doing that is not pleasant or not good for you. And so now when you go back and choose that bad behavior or something that's harmful to you, you're doing it with an awareness that you may not have had. So it can make things pretty miserable if you realize in ceremony that like what you're doing isn't good for you and then you choose to go back to it. So I would say that's the most common long-term side effect of ayahuasca. Would the plant not help someone who has mental health issues? Yeah, totally. I mean, it does, but it not with every mental health issue. I've had depression and anxiety, I think most of my life. Um, and it's provided tremendous help for me in managing those and managing those conditions without medication, and being a lot happier and healthier. But it can absolutely make you worse, like if you have schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder, or you have uncontrollable bipolar disorder. There's a lot, I think there's probably a bit of an overdiagnosis of bipolar disorder in this country. Um, and it's like if you've been diagnosed bipolar and you're not taking medications and you're able to keep a job and, maintain relationships with people, then it would likely be safe for you. But if you're experiencing very highs and very lows, ayahuasca can trigger a manic episode. So we don't want to do something that could potentially hurt you. And I would recommend that if you have a serious mental health condition like a personality disorder, schizophrenia, or very severe uncontrolled bipolar disorder, you may want to look into going to the jungle where you can have more treatments. You really, if you're doing this for a weekend with those conditions, you can do a lot more damage than you can good. And you may need to go to the jungle for 30 or 60 days to get the proper treatment and support that you need, um, with those conditions. Does bone broth count and red meat? No, bone broth you can continue. You can totally continue that up until the day of ceremony. You're good with that. It's just the actual meat you don't want to have. So some below questions from Alex who has to leave. But we will send out a recording of this. One was the long-term side effects and the ADD medication. So both of those were addressed. Question, can you talk about the specifics of what the retreat schedule would be? For example, what time ceremonies start and how many there are? Okay, so our ceremonies in the US are or our retreats in the US are two ceremonies, Friday night and Saturday night. This we typically have check-in between 5 and 7 p.m. and then we'll start intros around 7:30 or 8, depending if people are running late. And then we go into a breathwork session. Breath work will help you so much in your experience because your breath is the gas pedal and the brake. So getting you in contact with your breath, is going to be a tool that will be very beneficial for you while experiencing ayahuasca. So we will do that. That typically takes an hour. And then we'll bring out the medicine carrier. They'll talk for around 15 to 30 minutes. We'll go over with you the rules. We'll collect phones and car keys and get everyone settled in. And then the ceremonies typically start between 9:30 and 10 p.m. The ceremonies are you're offered between 2 and 3 cups and more if you need it. The first time you do ayahuasca, you typically need a lot more medicine. Then after the second and third and fourth time you've done it, um, it's literally the antithesis of a drug and the complete opposite. The less you've done it, the more you need. Um, so we'll start serving medicine. Everybody gets 1 cup. Sometimes the carriers will ask what type of experience you want. Do you want a light? Do you want a medium? Or do you want a heavy? Or they'll just serve you what they serve you. Again, it's all based on energetics and what they decide to do, and we let them have autonomy over serving the medicine. Um, so then around the 2 hour mark, a second cup will be called, and then they'll either open up the altar for a period of time where you can come up and get more medicine, or you can come let them know if you're not feeling anything. And the ceremonies most of the time end around 5 in the morning. So it's taking the it's a long ceremony. Sometimes they'll end at like 3, but if the energy's going and the medicine carrier continues to work, then it's going till 5 a.m. Or until the sun comes up. It just depends on the carrier. And then we'll have soup ready for you after ceremony. So if you're starving, you have something to eat. And then we'll have breakfast around 8 a.m. Um, Typically we'll rest for a few hours after that. Then we'll have a share circle around 11. Then we'll go into lunch. Then we'll have a couple of activities. Then we'll have a light dinner, and then we'll go into breath work again and start ceremony around 9 o'clock. The same, same process. So then on Sunday, we'll have breakfast, we'll have a share circle, we'll have activity and have lunch, and you're good to go by noon or 1 p.m. You can stick around longer if you like. In our Utah location, we let you stay until Monday because it's hard to get flights in and out of St. George. It's such a small airport. So you're totally welcome to stay. There's not like an additional cost or anything like that. You're welcome to stay and hang out at that location. And then yeah, it's about 30 participants per ceremony. Sometimes it's a little less depending on location, but it will state on the event detail on our website how many participants there are. Let's see. So intention setting. Intentions are it's good to know why you're doing this. Like, and you want to make sure you're setting an actual intention and not making a wish. Um, some people will say, I want to find the love of my life, and they'll expect that to happen in ceremony, or I want to walk out of here and be able to have a healthy relationship, or I want to know what I'm supposed to do with my life or career wise. And those are really, I mean, those are great intentions to have, but they're pretty big questions to ask. And maybe the first step is you have some work to do on yourself. So it's if you don't know how to have a healthy romantic relationship going into the ceremony, there's a good chance you're not going to know how to have one coming out, but you can be on your way of getting there. Ayahuasca can show you things that need to change or work you need to do. Or if you are wondering what you should do with your life and what your life purpose is, but you're completely out of touch with who you are, or you're on drugs, then you're probably going to the medicine's probably going to show you got to get sober first before you're able to accomplish those things. Or you have to really look at yourself in the mirror and learn about who you are a bit more before you make a decision of what you want to do with your life. So make sure your intention is something that you have reasonable expectations for, and you're not going to feel completely let down because you didn't walk out of here with like a multi-million-dollar business plan idea, or um finding love at a retreat or something. So the intention really should be when the medicine, if it gets intense or your process gets hard, what carries you through it. So like for me, because I've done this a couple hundred times, just because I work with ayahuasca, not because like you don't need to do that. We're not trying to like get you into drinking it every weekend or anything like that. Um, but even after a couple hundred times, I now just I ask for the truth and the grace to accept it. And that's pretty much it. But if there's a specific problem I'm working on with myself or something that comes up, then I'll really set that as my intention. So make sure that it's something reasonable, and it's your intention is the reason why you're choosing to do this. Is typically somebody's first stop on their wellness or self-discovery journey. Um, and again, because it can change your perspective on things. Um, like there are TV shows, it's something as simple as like TV shows I used to love that I absolutely hated after taking ayahuasca. And music that I love that I'm just like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Like I can't listen to this anymore. or violence. And like I used to just watch horror movies and play Grand Theft Auto and a lot of first player shooting games. I didn't have the capacity for anymore. And it sucked because, you know, you have a PlayStation 5 and a bunch of games and hours logged and things like that. You know, those are like kind of silly examples, but just examples of how things can change. Even foods that you like and things you like doing, you may not like them anymore. And unfortunately, that can go for your job and romantic partner, which are a lot, you know, harder to change and adjust to. Um, so just be aware that what you're doing is a big deal and can really change your life. Another question, have you mentioned drugs that have an effect on your blood pressure? What about actual blood pressure meds to keep it lower? Does that stop? So if your blood pressure medication has contraindications with MAOIs, then it's probably not safe for you to attend the retreat. So you have to look those up. There's so many different blood pressure medications, and I'm not a doctor or a pharmacist. And we do in our if you guys want to have a consultation with a pharmacist, we would recommend Dr. Ben Malcolm, the spirit pharmacist. It's $300 for you to meet with him and go over your medications and for him to realistically tell you what you need to do and what the risks are of you know, ingesting ayahuasca and your medications. So, but you these are things you can look up pretty easily online. But if it's like you have uncontrolled blood pressure, you get off of it, you're putting yourself at risk of, you know, having a stroke or a heart attack, and your medication isn't safe to take with ayahuasca, then it's probably not safe for you to attend the retreat. So do your research first before, you know, signing up for a retreat. Another question, can people sleep in ceremony tent? And is it heated? I don't have an RV and I'm not sure what to bring. Yeah, so you don't need to bring camping gear. You can, if it's a camping retreat, you can stay on your mat in the ceremony room. You're totally fine. It's climate controlled and you have we're giving you your blankets and pillows and stuff like that. So you don't if you're flying, you don't need to bring a bunch of stuff. You can just stay in there. We'll also have eye masks and earplugs for you. But yeah, don't get upset if somebody's snoring or farting or making noises or whatever, because that's what happens when you have a sleepover with a bunch of adults. But yeah, you're absolutely welcome to stay there. How strict is the alcohol 7-day guidance? Um, so I mean, again, we're recommending how to get the best results, and that would be 7 days sobriety. If that's not possible for you to do, or not something you want to do, then at least have 3 days of sobriety and drink a lot of water, especially if you're going like wine tasting or out in Vegas or something where you're recreationally like fun drinking. Make sure you're coming well hydrated. But 3 days would be really the bare minimum to keep to be safe. Um, so I think I've addressed everything in the chat. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask directly? You can unmute yourself or raise a hand. No? Well, if not, then awesome. I'll give
Uh, well, I was going to just thank you for having this presentation. It was very thorough. I don't have any questions after everything you went through here. So, perfect. Really did a good
awesome.
job. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I will go ahead and uh, 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 um well, I'll collect all the emails out of here. Again, if you didn't put your email in, right now is your last opportunity to do it. And then tonight we'll email the winners directly. And then once we get this uploaded to YouTube, we'll send out an email and announce who the winner was. I mean, we don't have to use your name or anything like uh if you don't want us to. Uh so we'll just use like part of your email address. So we'll send that out tonight. And then if you guys have any questions about anything in the process, or if there's any more any other additional information you'd like to know about us or retreat offerings, you can always reach out to us at info@Hummingbird Church or text 909-471-3248. We do phone calls, but we need to set them up and coordinate them because this isn't like anybody's full-time job. So we just kind of have to work around our schedules to be able to get on the phone. So thank you guys so much and yeah, let us know if there's any questions. Thanks everybody.